Did you ever blame God?
No. God was never in Auschwitz. Never. Never. It was all man-made.
Do you blame God for not saving you?
No. No. Not at all. Not at all. Look, I don't understand it myself sometimes. How could I have survived?
How did you survive?
Only because, well, for one reason, that the war came to an end when it did.
So in part, it was luck.
It was luck, it was history. The war ended, 6 more months, it would have been my turn.
And you said you were taken from Birkenau.
Yes. By this time, Auschwitz is being practically evacuated, and they are putting a group of girls on a train. We don't know where the train takes us. We think because we heard that there are marches, maybe they are taking us to another camp. In a way, we were very lucky because they took us to a labor camp where there were still young women who still seemed to have some strength. That's all I can say. And we were about 100 or 150 women that were put in one train. We didn't know where we were taken, and it was winter. And we arrived at a lager, at a Arbeitslager, a labor camp, really labor camp, where there were regular structures, a bed to a person with a blanket. It was stinking, but you know, nobody felt anything. And I was working there from probably December, or maybe the Russians liberated Auschwitz on January 27, I believe. Maybe it was even January, because I don't know. I just don't know. I know it was winter. It was bitter cold. And it was horrid in that Lager Sea. We didn't know where they were taking us, but they took us here. At least we were sheltered. And I was put to work to test some machinery. We are now May 7 or 8, okay? And I'm working at my little cubicle. The Frenchmen are on their side, working. By this time, we know that Roosevelt has died. And we weep, our savior. And one of the SS men who wore a white coat over, everybody knew that he was an SS, comes by and puts down on my table a small piece of bread. I freeze. I freeze. I know who he is. Piece of bread, and walks away without a word. I don't touch it, because he's waiting that I should touch it, jump on me, and say I stole it, God knows what. I don't touch it. Half an hour later, it was a Saturday, I do remember. May 7 or so. It was Saturday, and we worked only half day because around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, the alarm sounded. Arbeit nicht mehr, no more work. And I leave it there. And I never took it because I was afraid to take it. And go back to camp. Camp is bedlam. SS officers are doing this and doing that. They are packing, they are running. What's going on? Nobody knows. And we see them walking out of the camp. The camp was situated on an elevation. And we just stand there. One of the officers, the SS, calls Zählappell. Zählappell was something so hateful, so hateful. People were dropping, standing next to me. Couldn't stand anymore. Nobody budges. Nobody goes. Nothing happens. Suddenly somebody says, you know, I think they are running away. Which they did. Now they run away. There are no SS at the camp anymore. And we are on that elevation, and we see them run. And I don't know whether this is upbringing or being God knows what. We could have, you know, hurled rocks at them, or I don't know what. All we did was yelling at them, Schwein, the way they yelled at us, Schweinhund, all the dirty things they called us, and they were running. By that time, one of the Frenchmen who knew that there was a women's Arbeitslager came and said, La guerre est finie, the war is over. Now,
do you remember how you felt?
Do I remember?
How did you feel?
For as long as I live, and it's very painful actually, because of what I thought and what the reality is. The Frenchman said, the Russians are coming, come to our camp, you'll be safer. I didn't want to. And there were some girls, you know, and we decided we are not going to go. I don't know, we are not going to go, they are not yet here, they'll come, here we'll be. I mean, they'll see who we are, the Russians. That was a night of vigil for me. I didn't close my eyes. I've never had that in my life. The hope. Came dawn, we went out to the Mainstrasse, to the highway, and we could, you know, and it was May again. The sun shone, the air was as clean as it comes. And we knew that liberation, we could hear already the roar of the tanks. And I remembered how we listened, you know, when I was in the ghetto. And the tanks approach, and there, except, we all burst into song. The Marseillaise, the Internationale in Hungarian, Hatikva. It was such a moment of perfect happiness, of knowing that these are not panzers, that they are tanks. And as the Russians were approaching, we could see the little you know, their
helmets.
The helmets, not helmets, the wool hats, you know, the typical. They were, you know, sleepy-eyed and throwing cigarettes to us. And we were singing, and I knew perfect happiness because I believed that this is going to change. Now the world is going to be changed. And where I took the strength to sing the Hatikva and a little bit of the Marseillaise, I don't know, because I was still hungry, not starving. But we sang full-throated, the ones who had no voice. It was the most exquisite moment in my life. Never achieved the kind of exaltation. And then remembering the belief that there is something has to happen with the people, with the world, no more war. There is going to be an emotional mutation, if you will, something. Look at the sky. Look at the sun. We are free. We made it. And then came the aftermath. Yes, they freed us. And I eventually got back home. And it was as foolish and as disappointing, that dream and feeling I had, truly believing, not only hoping, believing that this is going to change everything. When I started to read how we got there, when we got there, how we were betrayed by those in power, by the Hungarian government, by everybody, how the Jews, they wanted to lead the Jews. I don't want to use the phrase led like sheep to slaughter, because we were not led like sheep to slaughter, because we trusted. And And ever since, I mean, in those days, I was younger and much more passionate than I am now. But I've learned to live with this betrayal. I feel betrayed.
Most by whom?
Most by the people. First of all, I feel betrayed by the Allies, who could have, certainly the Hungarian Jewry could have been saved. Then I feel betrayed by those who try to exculpate themselves by denying it. I mean, this just makes me, you know, blow. How you tell me, you know? And I feel betrayed by the callousness of people in general. I feel betrayed that people cannot even say extermination camp or death camp. They have to cosmeticize it to say concentration camp. I mean, my God, the audacity, I'm using a strange word right now, the audacity of denying the truth because the finger points to the denier. The truth is, I mean, to say concentration camp is to make it almost a human event, which it wasn't. Because to be in a concentration camp is like being on the edge of the abyss. I'm not minimizing that many people died and were murdered in concentration camps. But to be in Auschwitz-Birkenau, in Treblinka, in Koldichevo, that is like being in the abyss, where there is no more way out. That angers me. That's the one thing that still angers me. And if, I don't know how long I still have to live, but if I could just get the people to understand that words matter. Words matter. The pen is stronger than the bullet. And you can betray history. You can betray your own future if you lie about the truth.
At some point, you're in America. At some point, you fall in love. At some point, you marry. You have a life. You have a family. It's a statement of triumph and transcendence. What does that mean to you? What does it symbolize about the survivor?
When I see my son, I mean, I just feel, and when Rabbi Nadish, during his bar mitzvah, said to him, as he was standing there, you know, on the bima, when he was bar mitzvah, and the cups, the Kiddush cups were given away, presented, he said to him, you know, Ralph, the fact that you stand here today and you have become a bar mitzvah, it means that Hitler did not win.
Is he right?
I hesitate. I want to say he is.
In some way he is.
In some way he is.
It's not that simple, is it?
That's right. It's not that simple.
But we know what he was trying to say.
That's right.
And what he was trying to say is something you've lived.
That's right. He did not succeed to exterminate us.
And you did not stop being a Jew.
No, to the contrary. I didn't know much, you know. I was a girl. I wasn't educated. I wasn't supposed to read the Chumash or to study the sacred texts. I wasn't supposed to. As long as I played the piano a little bit and I spoke French, I'll marry a nice boy who may go into my father's business or whatever. No. But I did start to read history. I started to be very involved in Jewish causes. My husband at the time belonged to the Reconstructionist synagogue movement, which fitted in very well with what I was feeling because religion wasn't really that meaningful to me. And the leader of the Reconstructionist movement, I remember saying it's more important to come to the synagogue even if you have to come in a car on Shabbat than not come at all. Made sense to me. But beyond that, personally, I got involved in Jewish causes. Hadassah. I had a nice life. My husband was very supportive. But then things began to where, you know, again...
Life is life.
Life is life.
Life is
And
life.
where am I going? I know where I'm coming from. Where am I going? I wanted to finish my education. I went to Sarah Lawrence. I did it. But it still wasn't enough. Then I wrote a book, and it still wasn't enough. Because memory and history again converge, and I want to understand. And I decided to study Judaism. And I joined 14 years ago Drisha. You know about it.
Yes.
It's only for women, interestingly, and its principal is an Orthodox rabbi. I mean, he's my rabbi. And the more I study, the better it makes me feel. I mean, it gives me some identity. It makes me part of something, undeniably. I am part of something, and I am what I am. I know what I am. And that's good.
You are a remarkable human being. And this has been a remarkable experience for me. I have so much wanted to sit with you. There is so much wisdom in you, so much soul in you, so much human understanding in you, so much sensitivity in you, so much history in you, and so much love in you. I cannot thank you enough for doing this with me. You'll forgive me, it must be a semicolon, not a period. We will find other opportunities to talk in different ways.
Good.
So they called you in Hungarian, Bobo.
That's right.
You are Bobo to me. You
Please.
were and forever will be. I
I'm
love you
glad.
very much, and I thank you very, very much.
May I just say a few words? I am grateful to you for giving me this forum to say things that I never said. Maybe I thought about them, but I did not talk about them. Things that hurt, they will always hurt, but as you said, I'm living with it because there is no other way.